What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a LinkedIn leads scraper by creating a simple workflow in Anychan. Let's get started. In Anychan, I've created a workflow that I've renamed to LinkedIn leads scraper. Here, we're going to start by adding a trigger. I'm going to choose a manual trigger over here. Now, to scrape leads from LinkedIn, I'm going to use this tool called Apify. Apify, it's an incredible tool that you can use to scrape any website and automate projects. To get 30% off your first subscription to this tool, just use the link in the description to sign up and create your account. And after creating your account, head over to Apify store over here. And here, we're going to search for a tool that we're going to use to scrape leads from LinkedIn. So here, I'll search for LinkedIn. So like leads with their contact information already available. So the contact information, in this case, we're going to use email. So I'll search for LinkedIn email. Search over here to find the tool that we're going to use to scrape leads with their contact information already available. So here you can see we have over almost 1,000 tools that we can use to scrape leads from LinkedIn with their contact information already available. You can use any of these tools over here. I'm going to choose to use this tool over here. So I'll open this tool on a new tab. And this is the tool that we're going to use to scrape leads from LinkedIn. All you have to do is add a search keyword over here and the number of leads that you'd like to scrape. Over here, we can try scraping, let's say, accountants. And here, we can scrape 10 of them. So now to scrape 10 accountants from LinkedIn, I'm going to click on start over here. Here, we're going to rent this actor. Click on rent an actor over here. And then I'll click on save and start to scrape the leads for us. You can see that our actor is running and getting our data. Let's give it a second for it to complete scraping the leads for us. Here, you can see our tool succeeded in scraping 10 accountants for us from LinkedIn. So here we got their contact information, got the keyword that we use to scrape the leads. Here's their description, title, and their LinkedIn profile URL over here. So this is amazing. So now, instead of having to manually scrape the leads right here in Apify, we can create a workflow that scrapes the leads for us and then adds the leads to a Google Sheet. To scrape the leads from Anychan, in our tool over here, you can see we are adding the keyword and the number of leads I would like to scrape over here. So we can add the keyword and the number of leads I would like to scrape to a Google Sheet and then get the keyword and the number of leads I would like to scrape on our workflow over here via the spreadsheet. In Google Sheets, I've created a spreadsheet that I've renamed to LinkedIn Leads spreadsheet. The spreadsheet, I've created a sheet that I've renamed to keywords. Here's where we're going to add the keyword and the number of leads I would like to scrape. So this is the keyword that we're going to use to scrape our leads. So now to get our keyword and the number of leads that we like to scrape in our workflow over here, I'll search for Google Sheets and click on Google Sheets. Here I'll click on Get Rows in Sheet Node. Here you'll need to connect your account to Anychan, so I'll click on Create a new credential. Then over here, click on Sign in with Google. And then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you'd like to connect to Anychan, and your connection will be created. Here I'm going to close this window. Here we're going to find our document, which is this document right here. And our sheet is a keywords sheet. Here I'll click on Execute Step to get our keyword and the number of leads we would like to scrape. Here I rename this node to Get Keyword. And then here I'll click on Rename. So now with our keyword, we can proceed and scrape the leads for us using Apify. So here, I'll search for Apify and click on Apify right here. Here you'll need to install it first if you haven't installed it yet. And after installing it, click on Run an Action Node right here. You'll need to create your connection to connect your account to Anychan. Do that, just click on Create a new credential. Then over here, click on Connect my account. And then on the new window that pops up, choose the account that you'd like to connect to Anychan, and your connection will be created. Since I have already done that, I'm going to close this window. And here we like to run an actor. I'm going to choose a recently used actor. And here we're going to find our actor, which is this actor here. And here we're going to add our JSON. Click on expression, expand it right here so we can add our JSON over here. To get our JSON, in our tool where it says manual and JSON, click on JSON. Here we're going to copy this JSON. To do that, I'll just copy it. And then I'll paste the JSON right here. Here, instead of having to add our keywords manually, we're going to map it right here. Same with the number of leads I would like to scrape. I'm going to map it right here. Now to scrape our leads right here in Anychan using this tool in Apify, I'll click on Execute Step right here. You can see it's executing our node. Let's give it a second for it to complete scraping the leads for us. Here, you can see that our node was executed successfully. So that was a success, and we got our default dataset ID right here. So now to get our leads, here I'll search for Apify again and click on Apify. This time around, I'm going to click on the get dataset items node over here, and here we're going to map our dataset ID, which is this ID over here. And here click on execute step to get our leads. You can see we got our 10 leads over here. So here are the 10 leads that we scraped using the accountants keyword. I renamed this node to LinkedIn leads scraper. Here I'll rename this to get LinkedIn leads. Here I'll click on rename. Now we can proceed and add our leads to a spreadsheet. In our spreadsheet, I've also created another sheet that I've renamed to LinkedIn leads. Here's how we're going to add our leads. So here we're going to add the keyword that we use to scrape the leads, title of the leads, contact information, description, and the URL. And then we're going to add the subject line and the email body that we're going to generate using our workflow that we can send to our leads. But first, let us add the LinkedIn data to our spreadsheet. To do that, here, I'll search for Google Sheets. Then here I'll click on append row in sheet node. Here I'll search for a document, choose this document. And our sheet is going to be the LinkedIn leads sheet. Then here we're going to map the keyword that we use to scrape the leads. The title, email, description, and the profile URL. So for the subject line and the email body, we're going to update these columns later on after we've generated the call outreach email that we can send our leads. Then here I'll click on execute step to add our leads to a spreadsheet. You can see it's executing our node, and our node was executed successfully, and it successfully added our leads to a spreadsheet. Now here, I renamed this node to LinkedIn leads. And here I'll click on rename. So now when you open our spreadsheet, here you can see we successfully added our leads over here. So we added the keyword that we use to scrape the leads, the title, email, description, and the LinkedIn leads URLs. So now let us go ahead and generate personalized call outreach emails that we can send our leads over here using our workflow. To do that, here we're going to start by adding a condition. I'm going to start with the if node over here to add our condition. The condition is that the email has to exist, so we can now generate personalized outreach emails to send the leads. So I'll click on execute step over here to save our condition. You can see our node was executed successfully, and the output is in the true branch, so their contact information is available. If their contact information wasn't available, we'll have to do nothing. So I'll search for the do nothing node over here and click on it. And then here, so we have a total of 10 leads. I would like to send only 2 leads, the call outreach emails, and not the 10 leads. So here I'm going to limit the leads to only 2. So I'll search for the limit node right here and click on it. Here I'm going to limit the leads to only 2. Then I'll execute this node right here. You can see we got our 2 leads over here. Now we can go ahead and generate a personalized outreach email that we're going to send our leads. So to do that, we're going to use an AI agent to generate the outreach emails. So in AI, I'll click on AI agent. And here, I'm going to define below to add our prompt and our system message over here. The prompt for our agent is on the lines of, you're an expert cold email copywriter. The system message is on the lines of, your task is to write a highly personalized, natural sounding cold email based only on the information provided about the lead using the think tool. And here we're adding the leads data, where we're adding the title, description, and the profile URL. Then here we're outlining a couple of rules that we'd like the agent to follow. So we're telling the agent to open with a genuine, specific compliment or observation about the profile based on the description or the LinkedIn URL. Keep the tone warm, human, and professional. Avoid sounding like a template. Do not use filler or vague phrases. Be concrete and accurate. Keep the email short, a maximum of 5 sentences. And here we're outlining the structure of the call email. So the first line will be a personalized compliment or opening. Second line will be a brief introduction of who I am and what I do. The third line will be explaining simply how what I do could benefit this specific lead. And the last line will be a light call to action, where we can offer the lead a quick short, free audit, or ask if they're open to an idea. We're also telling the agent, do not invent facts not in the input. If no information is available, acknowledge briefly and keep the message general but polite. Avoid overused phrases like I hope this email finds you well. Do not use any dashes or placeholders such as your name, first name, or business name. Write the email naturally as if you already know the recipient. And then for the output, we'll like it in a clean JSON format with 2 keys, the subject line and the email body. Here I'll require a specific output format. Then I'll click on the output parser here. Then I'll click on the structured output parser. And here we're going to add our JSON example. So we'd like to output the subject line and the email body over here. So here I'll drag this node at the top. Also going to add a think tool, since we mentioned that we like the agent to use the think tool. So I'll search for the think tool over here and click on it. Here I'll drag this node at the top over here, and we can also rename this to think tool to make it easy here, and then I'll click on rename. So the next thing that we're going to add is a memory. I'm going to click on the memory over here and click on simple memory. Here we're going to define below, and then I'm going to add our key. For the key, you can add any key. I'm going to add this date as a key and drag this node at the top over here. And lastly, we're going to add our chat model. Chat model, I'm going to use OpenAI chat model. Here, you'll need to connect your account to Anychat. So from your OpenAI API, add the API key over here and click on save to create your credential. And then close the window. And then over here, choose any of these models over here. I'm going to stick with GPT 4.1 mini. And then I'll drag this node at the top over here. Generate a personalized cold email for leads. Using this AI agent, I'll open this node. And then I'll click on execute step right here to generate the personalized outreach emails. You can see our node was executed successfully, and we generated personalized outreach emails for our two leads. So here's the subject line, the email body for this lead. Here's the other subject line and the email body for this lead over here. So the subject line of our first lead is on the lines of exploring ways to boost your bookkeeping reach with automation. And the email body is on the lines of hi Joseph. I admire your initiative in run our bookkeeping solutions while actively seeking new accounting opportunities. South Florida. I specialize in automation and AI for marketing agencies, helping professionals like you streamline client outreach and grow their pipelines more efficiently. I'd love to share some ideas on how these tools could enhance your marketing efforts and open doors to new opportunities. Would you be open to a quick chat sometime soon? That's amazing. Very personalized subject line and email body. The subject line of the second lead is on the lines of enhancing your accounting workflow with automation insights. The email body is on the lines of hi Tyrone. I noticed your solid foundation in accounting from Rogers University and your professional presence in Trenton. I work with automation and AI specifically tailored for marketing agencies to help professionals like you streamline client communication and boost client acquisition efforts. If you're open to explore how these tools might simplify some of your workflows or help expand your reach, I would love to share a few ideas. Would you be interested in a brief conversation? That's a very personalized call email that we can send our lead. I renamed this agent to call email generator over here. With our cold outreach emails over here, we can send the emails to our leads. To do that, here we're going to start by waiting a few seconds. So I'll search for the wait node over here. Can wait, let's say 3 seconds. Then I'll execute this node over here. Here, I'll rename this node to wait 3 seconds. And click on rename. And then the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to send the outreach emails to our leads. Since we got their contact information over here, we're going to use Gmail to send them the outreach emails. So I'll search for Gmail and click on send a message node over here. You're going to map the email address that we scraped using our workflow. So I'll map email address over here. Subject line will be the subject line that we generated using our agent. Email type, I'm going to choose text. And then here we're going to map the email body over here. The last thing that we're going to do here, I'll click on add options and click on append and return attribution. Then I'm going to turn this to off. And then I'll click on execute step over here to send the leads outreach emails. You can see our node was executed successfully. And we send the both emails that we generated using our AI agent to our leads over here. So I renamed this node to send outreach emails. And then here I'll click on rename. Now the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to update our columns of the leads that we generated, the outreach emails, with the subject line and the outreach email that we generated for the leads. To do that, in our workflow, I'll search for Google Sheets, click on Google Sheets, and here I'll click on update row in sheet node. Here I'm going to find our document, which is this document. Our sheet is going to be the LinkedIn leads sheet. And here, we're going to select the column that we'd like to match. I'm going to choose the email and map the email over here. So map the email address over here. And then we can now map the subject line and the email body that we generated using our workflow over here. And then I'll click on execute step to update the rows with the subject line and the email. You can see our node was executed successfully. So here, I renamed this node to update subject line and the email column. And the last thing that we're going to do here is we're going to end our workflow. So to do that, I'll search for the do nothing node over here. And then I'll execute it to complete our workflow. You can see our node was executed successfully. Now, when you open our spreadsheet, here you can see we added subject lines. generated for these two leads over here, they are called outreach emails. Describe these leads from LinkedIn using this keyword, and then use their title and description to generate personalized outreach emails using this workflow that we created here in Anygen. Our workflow works perfectly. So here we're getting the keyword that we added to our spreadsheet over here. This is the keyword that we're using to scrape the leads. And then we're using the keywords to scrape the leads using this tool in Apify. And then here we're getting the leads that we scraped using this tool. And then we're adding the leads to our spreadsheet. In this sheet right here, where we're adding the keyword, title, email address, description, and their profile URLs. And then here, if their contact information is available, we're going ahead and generating personalized outreach emails for the leads. Then we're waiting a few seconds and then sending the outreach emails to the leads using this node right here. And then we're updating the record that we created in Google Sheets with the subject line and email body that we generated using our AI agent over here. As you can see over here, where we are adding the subject line and the email bodies that we generated using our workflow. So our workflow works perfectly. We can try testing our workflow so we can see how it works. To test our workflow, we're going to start by adding a keyword here in this sheet. This time around, I'm going to choose software engineer as our keyword and scrape 10 software engineers and add them to our spreadsheet right here and generate outreach emails for the leads. So to do that, I'll click on execute to workflow over here. Here, you can see that our workflow was executed successfully. So in this node, we got our keyword, which was software engineer. Then we use the keyword to scrape the leads in from LinkedIn. Then we got our leads right here, where we added it. And then we proceeded to add the leads to a spreadsheet. Then here we limited the leads to only 2 and generated personalized outreach emails for the 2 leads. And then we waited a few seconds and then sent the outreach emails to the leads using this node. And then we updated the leads that we added to a spreadsheet right here with the personalized outreach emails and subject line that we generated using this AI agent. And then we completed our workflow over here. Now, when you open our spreadsheet, you can see we added 10 more leads to our spreadsheet. So here we added the keyword that we use to scrape the leads, which was software engineer. Here's the title, email, description, and the LinkedIn URL over here. We also generated personalized outreach emails to 2 of the leads that we just scraped. So here are the personalized subject lines. Here are the personalized outreach emails that we generated for our leads over here. We also send the leads, the outreach emails using this node. Now when I open my inbox, you can see the subject line and the email body that we're sending to the leads. So this is a personalized subject line and the email body that we sent to this lead that we scraped using Apify. We scraped these leads using this keyword in LinkedIn using Apify and added their data over here in the spreadsheet. We also went ahead and generated personalized subject lines and outreach emails for the leads using this called email generator, and then proceeded to send the leads the outreach emails using this node, as you can see over here. So our workflow works perfectly. Thank you for watching. Now, if you'd like me to create this workflow for you or a workflow similar to this one, just click the first link in the description to schedule a call with me. On the call, we'll discuss into details about the workflow that you'd like me to create for you, and then I'll proceed to create the workflow for you. But if you enjoyed this video and you have an AI agent or a workflow in mind that you'd like me to create using Anygen, just comment it down below in the comment section. I read all the comments, and if I land on your comment and I find it intriguing, I'll come back on a future video showing you how to create the entire workflow or AI agent from scratch using Anygen. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.